So I apologize if there's any wind noise, but I'm sitting under one of these big fans at Outlaw Equine Indicator. As promised, Spencer is here at the vet clinic, and we are just waiting for him to get checked out. You know, I started thinking about how there's a million videos telling people to like maintenance their horses and take them to the vet when something doesn't feel right, and trust your gut and inject them if they need to be injected, or don't if they don't, or you know what I mean, like whatever you feel is necessary. But very rarely does anyone make a video and tell you how much that stuff costs. And so I'm here today. I think we might probably be here for like routine hock or stifle injections. Maybe something in the knees. I don't know. It's been a long time since we've had to get anything injected. We stay on Adequan. But I thought it would be really cool if I just basically shared how much it costs to have this type of maintenance done at one of the very best vets in the country. So that's what this trip is about. Someone is still a little bit drunk from their injections. They're very sleepy. His head is so heavy. So we injected hocks, stifles, and mid and lower back. It's been a long time since he's probably had his back injected. I'm thinking nearly 2 years. And to be honest, his hocks and stifles were supposed to get done about 3 or 4 months ago at a big barrel race. And when I received my invoice from that race, the injections weren't on there. And so I think maybe there may have been a mix-up with horses, and my horse didn't get injected because he's never needed to be injected more than once a year for hocks and stifles. So I think maybe something happened and we might have skipped over him or something, but it's done now. We're going to wait for him to sober up. His eyes are open, but he's very sleepy. And then we'll get on the road. I will give you guys a cost breakdown in just a bit when I go get my invoice. It was so hot, I had to get Spencer home. But as promised, I have the invoice, and I'm not going to screenshot it because it has my address on it, but I'm going to do the cost breakdown. Now, I want to preface this by saying I'm not pushing people to get their horses injected. However, it was the right choice for me. I do want my horse to have a high quality of life. I want to get him out of pain as soon as possible. Also, I know that the number one cause of joints going downhill very, very fast is keeping inflammation in those joints. So the quicker I can get the inflammation out, that's what I do, because the biggest way to tear a joint up is to leave that inflammation in there. Now, that being said, I do not think you should run out and get injections every time you have a bad run, or even every few months. I think that you should do everything you possibly can to make sure that you're not having to stick a needle in it. Give the time off that you need to give. Let them rest. Feed a very good supplement if you can. Make sure you're keeping your horses in shape and you're not just pulling them out of the stall and going and doing. Make sure you have adequate warm-up and adequate cool-down. If you can afford something like Adequan or Legend or even Summit or anything like that, those things will prolong your injection periods so much. Just save your money and do it. I do Adequan personally, and every now and then I will throw a Legend shot in there. Keeping the inflammation out of the joints is very important to me, and I have won a lot of money on senior horses that are completely sound into their mid-20s and still very, very competitive, because I prioritize the horse's quality of life over anything else. So this is Outlaw Equine Indicator. There may be some price differences here and there depending on the type of medicine that your horse might get injected with. Vets use different medicines to inject with, but the most common cocktail for hock injections, stifle injections, or any injections really are going to be a steroid, a lubricant like hyaluronic acid, and an antibiotic. I have seen vets not give the antibiotic, and I am telling you, every time you go into the joint, you risk an infection. Please make sure they're giving you an antibiotic in the cocktail. It might make it a little more expensive. It is worth it. Old wives' tale, or back in the day, they used to think using the steroids in the joint would tear up a joint. Nothing tears up a joint quicker than inflammation itself. The steroid takes the inflammation out. Now, a lot of times they were using steroids but not replacing with hyaluronic acid. That's the replacement for the synovial fluid. That's the good stuff. And when you use a product like Adequan, or even a good feed-through supplement like OptiWise, what those supplements do is they encourage the body to produce its own synovial fluid, or to increase the production of it. Another thing that increases the production of synovial fluid is movement. Just let your horses move. Don't put them in a small paddock or a small stall and not exercise them or turn them out. So those are just easy things. So these are my prices, okay? I am a recheck for the lameness exam because I am a repeat customer of Dr. Harvey's, so I may get a little discount here, $44. Sedation was $37. My hock injections were $276. I've seen this range between $150 and $350 for hock injections, depending on which joints they're doing in the hock, depending on which medicines they're using. That is going to depend on your vet, but you can just bet it's going to be between $150 and really $250 or $300 is pretty common for hock injections. Stifle injections, I paid $189. Back injections, I paid $174. Now, I've paid $350 to $450 for back injections before to do his entire back. He did have kissing spine surgery. We are just doing his mid back, basically right behind the injection site, to his lower lumbar. And so I don't think that we had to. I didn't watch him inject him, so I don't know how many shots he actually got. But $174 for back injections is probably the cheapest I've ever paid for back injections. So I'm thinking maybe 4 or 6. Not too bad. Anyways, my grand total was $665, and that included a $67 discount, I think basically just because I'm a repeat person. So that is how much it cost to do hock stifles back. I feel like not everyone is going to have to do back. That's something that Spencer has struggled with. He did have kissing spine, and he had it really bad. So even after surgery, it's something that we deal with, even a little bit of remodeling. So hock and stifles, I feel like almost every single horse rodeoing, running barrels, running poles, roping calves could probably benefit from hock and stifle injections at one point in their career or another. And I paid $276 for the hock, $189 for the stifles. So if you took away the $174 and just left the lameness exam and the sedation, I'd be looking at about $500. Lameness exams, I think everybody should do one 3-4 times a year. You don't have to inject just because they tell you to do a lameness. If you don't have anything big coming up and your horse tests a little sore, give them some time off. Don't throw a needle in it if you don't feel comfortable throwing a needle in it, or if you don't have the money, don't throw a needle in it. Just, let it be. Let your horse rest a little bit. But I've seen lameness exams cost anywhere from $50 to $100. I think that $75 is really average, and I do believe I got a discount on that because it was a recheck. But I just wanted to let you guys know that was my bill. It was $665, hock, stifles, and back. I feel like most people could benefit, or their horses could benefit from having hocks and stifles injected, and I just wanted to give a cost breakdown at one of the best vets, I believe, in the country. I just